Of late, some manufacturers are following the trend of converting their 5-seater SUVs into 7 with some extra real estate. The primary reason being the return on investment for them is much higher. Tata Motors implemented this cheat code successfully for the Harrier, which turned out Safari as a beautiful product. Hyundai Motors did not want to be left out in the race, and the Alcazar is the nomination from them. Is it worth the premium of rupees 3 lakhs over the Creta? Does it make sense to pick this over the well-established rivals who have been in the game for quite some time? Hello and welcome back to Shutter Drives. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so and follow us on Instagram.
The Alcazar is 20 cm longer than the Creta and has a wheelbase shorter by over 15 cm. Although the width is carried over, it's taller by 4 cm. Hyundai Creta had one of the most controversial design of recent times. Love it or hate it, but you couldn't ignore it. Hyundai has used the same formula in the Alcazar too. The Alcazar not only borrows cues from the Creta, but the cascading grille has a subtle hint of Palisade which looks overdone. The headlamps are LEDs which offer good illumination at night.
Moving on further, you have the fog lamps which are mounted here, and we really feel the placement is way too low. In case you come across an obstacle within the city, we feel this is prone to getting scratched. And you have the wind deflector here, and the bumpers are slightly tweaked too compared to Creta.
The side is dominated by large doors and redesigned C-pillar. Notably, the weight lifting is done by 18 inches of alloys, which is one of the most radical designs we have ever seen. The top variants are awarded with side footsteps, but they protrude more than that ideally should. If the front is polarizing, you might actually be happy with how neat the rear is. While the majority may find the design tagged similar to the Endeavour, some might find the hint of Hexa in it.
You get these large conventional LED tail lamps which are very beautiful and go with the overall appeal of the Alcazar. Bumpers are totally redesigned, and you have the dual exhaust here. The exhausts are triggering my OCD because they are not symmetric, and the same thing was found in Creta as well. And you have the rear parking sensors which are going to be very helpful when you are maneuvering the large Alcazar inside the city. My bad, I just mistook it to be one of those rare fancy cars where you have the boot opening through a foot. So we'll have to go the conventional way. So this is 180 liters of boot space. It's not enormous, but I think it does the job well. It's still better than most of the competition. Of course, you do have an option to fold the 6th and 7th seat so that you can accommodate a lot more luggage for your airport transfer.
Although the interiors are similar with the same dashboard design, the hint of brown and black interiors feel upmarket, but the feel is limited when you touch them and realize they are hard. The perforated steering wheel and gear knob add to the overall plush experience. If there's something to write home about, it's this super cool 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster which has 3 themes in it, something that we have always seen in luxury car segment. If that isn't enough, the blind spot feature takes the goodness quotient to a whole new level. Once you turn on the indicators, the blind spot feed from the camera is projected inside the digital instrument cluster, which looks very futuristic. If that still isn't enough to envy your neighbor, a 360-degree camera will come very handy when the massive dimensions of Alcazar are making its way through the crowded streets. If the pandemic has distanced you from the clubs, this 64 ambient light option of the Alcazar will remind you less of the good old days. The perforated leather seats, 8-way adjustable driver seat, ventilated seats, and a Bose premium sound system that sounds top-notch are bundled in the feature list. With the rising pollution levels and the deadly pandemic, Hyundai wants the occupants to breathe fresh air with its air purifier. If there's something that would be very helpful, it's the wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which would keep the tangling wires away from the cabin.
Once you step inside the rear of the Alcazar, you're greeted by the humongous panoramic sunroof that allows a lot of light inside the cabin, making it feel very airy. Talking of the sun, you do get the sunlights here. You can attach or retract them, and yes, you do have the center fixed armrest here. It's not movable, but there is a decent storage space inside it, and you have the wireless charging port. Hyundai has always been damn good when it comes to offering convenience to the consumers, but this time they have taken things a notch above. Check this out. This is something that I really liked. So you can fold the seat, the second row seat, to access the third row in just one touch. That's it, you're done, and you can easily, with the help of side steps, enter the cabin. Let's take this analogy. If someone's staying in a 2-bedroom apartment and they wish to move to the 3-bedroom apartment, the only thing, or probably the most important thing for them, is the third bedroom should be as spacious as possible, because that's the whole reason why they're moving from a 2 BHK to 3 BHK. And if we apply the similar concept here, if you're trying to say move from Creta to Alcazar, or if you want to consider Alcazar instead of Creta, the one thing that you expect is the additional row, the third row, is as comfortable as possible, or else it dilutes the whole purpose of the Alcazar or Creta. When you extend the second row seat all the way back, it's impossible for adults to sit in long distance journeys. Probably kids can manage for some time, but tall people are going to have a very tough time. You would have to compromise with the second row legroom for the third row people to be comfortable, or it's the other way around. I think this is something that Hyundai should have taken care of slightly more. Probably they could have compromised on the boot. That's okay, but the third row is a big letdown in the Alcazar. Of course, a beautiful thing here is you get the seat belts here, and it's a good thing.
The Alcazar is evidently bigger than the Creta, and this has obviously translated into its driving dynamics. Not that the body roll is as evident as the old Fortuner, just that it's not the car that would bring a wide grin on your face in the hairpin bends of Ooty. Drive it on the Yamuna Expressway or a personal favorite, Ahmedabad Vadodara Expressway, and boy, this 1.5 tonner will refuse to show any signs of nervousness. It's that damn stable at high speeds. This is the department where Hyundai has vastly improved from its initial days.
Talking about the acceleration, it's a very linear progress. It's not that you're going to feel that you're pushed back to the seat when you step up the gas pedal. It's not a turbocharged engine, it's a naturally aspirated engine. So you got to set your expectations right accordingly. But one thing that I want to point out is towards the slightly higher rev bands, somewhere around 3500 RPM and above, you'll see that the engine gets vocal. Especially above 4000 RPM is when the engine gets pretty vocal. Although it's a petrol engine, it gets pretty vocal, and you might not have a very pleasing experience from that end. We really wish that we had got the diesel engine for the review, because the diesel is underpowered on the paper. It turns out merely 115 bhp, and that's 115 bhp. Would love to test the real world scenario on how it behaves. But coming back to this particular engine, it's the 2-liter naturally aspirated petrol engine. Moving on to the steering feedback. The steering is light, of course, just like any other Hyundai out there. Not that it's the most confidence inspiring of the lot. For example, if you look at the steering of the XUV500, that's much more confidence inspiring. It weighs up really well. And the good part about the steering is post 80-90 kmph, it's not very heavy or something, but it's fairly direct. So you won't complain like you did in the Elite i20, which is the previous gen i20, which had a very light steering. But compared to the Hyundai cars are actually getting better in terms of the steering feedback. So don't expect a wide grin on your face, but that's fine, because at city limits the steering is super duper light, and this is going to appeal to a lot of people. For example, if you drive the Tata Safari, it's very heavy in the city, but the Alcazar, it's super light in the city, the steering feedback, so it's very easy to maneuver in the parking lots.
The 200mm of ground clearance means there would barely be any instance where the underbelly would kiss the ground, even in the worst of the situations. While Alcazar will eat smaller potholes for brake burst at lower speeds, big craters of Bangalore could be felt inside the cabin. Not that it's uncomfortable in any way, it's just not the plushiest of the lot.
Talking about the gear shifts, it's probably not the most responsive gearbox you would have ever met in your life, but it's good. It's not as bad as the Hector Plus, where you could actually feel the turbo lag. Of course, you're not going to get turbo lag here because it's a naturally aspirated engine, but then you do feel that, some kind of very partial miscommunication between the engine and gearbox. But apart from that, I think in most of the situations you won't complain at all. Also choose from the Eco, Comfort and Sport mode. Eco is, of course, like the way it says, It's more towards, conservative approach of saving fuel, and it's a very kind of lethargic driving experience. Comfort is the blend of eco and sport is good, but it gets super duper vocal, so I wouldn't actually prefer sport for this car. Not that it's meant for that, but I think comfort is something that offers a good balance between both. So I'm just taking a U-turn now, and you can see how light it is to take a U-turn here. It's very, very easy. Talking about the braking of the car, I was really disappointed with the i20's brakes. Not that I'm comparing i20 to this, but honestly, I had slightly lesser expectations when I was entering this car from the braking point of view, but it did not disappoint. I'll just wait for a safe passage to brake, and here we go. I think it's a big thumbs up. No complaints at all. Brakes much better than the XUV 500, just for comparison. If you don't really need the third row seats, Creta is still a better bet. It's not only 3 lakh rupees cheaper, but the turbo petrol drives brilliantly well. If you're looking for a proper overall 7-seater SUV, there are still some options which you can consider apart from the Alcazar, because the diesel is seriously underpowered on paper and the petrol is thirsty as hell. On our test drives, we got an efficiency of say 5.7 to 6.1 km per liter in the city and somewhere around 8 to 8.5 km per liter on a highway, which means it's going to burn a deep hole into your pocket. But if the ease of driving and feature list is on top of your priority list, and you want the additional 2 seats just for the sake of additional versatility whenever you need, the Alcazar is the car that you can bring home without a second thought.
The Alcazar will still sell in good numbers, thanks to the diluted competition and a good chunk of buyers prioritizing the features and Hyundai's brand value over capable motors. The problem with XL6 is the brand value associated with Maruti isn't that great for cars costing over $1 million. The problem with Safari is its fair share of minor niggles which are still work in progress. The problem with Marazzo is it shockingly doesn't get an automatic transmission. The problem with Innova Krista is it's ridiculously expensive for what it offers except reliability. The problem with Hector Plus is the brand still needs to do some heavy lifting to build the confidence in consumers that they are serious about the Indian market. This is where the Alcazar would position itself as the jack of all trades and master of none.
If you guys like the video, we hope to see you subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram for regular automotive updates. Take care, drive safe, and more importantly, stay healthy during these tough times.